Welcome back to Space Cadets Away Missions. We're playing Mission 2, Venus, Escape from the Slave Saucer. And I don't know if we're in trouble or not. Our professor has 4 health and only 2 oxygen left, so he's getting a bit low there. He's going first this turn. And First Officer Annie Fletcher has 3 health left and 8 oxygen, so she's not in any danger of running out of oxygen, but she has other problems to deal with. All right, of course the professor's going first, and the first thing we do on a turn is we reveal the closest tile that's not flipped over, must be flipped over, scan action. So the professor is going to do his scan action, and all of the tiles are equidistant from where he is because he's right in the center of the board. So let's go ahead and flip over this one. It has one of these tile markers. We are looking for the elevator. Please be the elevator. It's a decoy! Oh man, we're finding every decoy, which means the elevator is either this one or this one. There's no question now. We're getting closer to finding the elevator, but we haven't found it yet. Discovery token. We have the sonic repulsor. That sounds pretty cool. Let's find it and see what it is. The sonic repulsor. Okay, let's have a look. It is push one figure or item in line of sight away from user until it leaves line of sight or reaches hatch or map edge. So you basically can push an item or an alien one space away through clear line of sight if you can see them. 3 charges. Okay, well that might come in handy if we get some really bad nasties on the board like sentinels or brains in a jar. So far we've lucked out a little bit and haven't had them. As I say that, of course, we're going to flip over this token. What is it? Okay, we get 2 saucermen and a bug. Another bug. Oh my god. We're going to be in trouble here pretty soon. 2 saucermen and a bug. So this is our 5th bug on the board. Once again, we only have 1 vent and it's right there. So that's it for vents. And now we have to decide what we're going to do with Professor Pelham and his 3 actions. Wow, yeah, this gets interesting because he's got closed hatches all the way around, but he does have that overkill option of override, which is opening a door. Oh man, I think the first thing he wants to do is attack the bugs with his ray gun. And so for his first action, he's going to be rolling 5 dice. He's attacking the bug swarm with the ray gun. So let's go to the dice tray. He's going to roll 5 dice and we'll see what he can do. All right, bug swarm time. 5 dice. And we get 2 hits. So that could be a good thing. One, of course, is going to kill one of the bugs. That's the first hit. Then we have overkill options. So back to the board, we'll look at his overkill options and see what he wants to do. All right, we're going to look at the bug overkill option, and it's basically exterminate. And it's exterminate, kill 1 bug in range and line of sight. So he could just kill another bug for that overkill option, or he can use his personal overkill option, which is override, to open a hatch. And geez, I don't know. This is getting very problematic. I think he's going to use, in this instance, I think he's, I don't know. Oh man, he's going to use his personal override to open this hatch, because I think I want him here at the end of the episode. Wow, this could get ugly. Okay. That was basically his first action. He's going to do a non-combat action now. He's going to try and subdue this Thal. He's going to use the last charge on his reference book to pump his IQ up to 6. So he's going to be rolling 6 dice to subdue this thrall. Over to the dice tray. Let's see what he can do. Right, it's subdue the thrall time with 6 dice. Okay, well we have 1 and 2. So yes, we successfully subdued the thrall. And that is going to net us our last piece of wire we need. We now have 6 of them. That's our first objective completed. But we have 1 overkill to process. And I have to think about what I want to use it on. So let's go back to the board and figure it out. Okay, this becomes very puzzly, this game, after a while. I'm going to use the scientist. He has 1 charge left on him. He can give me +1 overkill for any successful IQ action. Spend charge after rolling. So we're going to do that now. So he's out of charges. But now it gives me 2 overkill options. The first overkill option, we're going to use the personal one for the professor. He's going to open this hatch. And this will make sense, I hope, once Annie takes her turn. His second overkill option is he is going to rescue a thrall, because it might give us some new abilities. So we're going to randomly scramble up, and we're going to rescue that thrall. And the rescued thrall, we get the little girl. I'm not scared. Ignore panic once per turn. So she's just an ongoing ability. Get to ignore panic. So that's pretty cool. And he now has, I do believe, one more action left. One more action left. And then he could spend an oxygen. He only has 2 oxygen left, though. That is pretty hard to deal with. So for his final action, he is going to once again attack the bugs with his ray gun. So that's what he's going to do. So we're going to be rolling 5 dice, last action, attacking the bugs with the ray gun. Ray gun bug attack. Let's get a good roll. And that's not bad. That's not bad. We get, oh wow, we got 3. Oh, that's excellent. Very excellent. So 1 is going to kill one of the bugs. That's good. Boy, I'm rolling well. 1 bug is killed. We have 2 overkills. Back to the board to process. All right, the first overkill, we're going to kill an extra bug. We're going to use the exterminate ability of the bugs. The second overkill, we're going to use the hit and run from the ray gun. Acting Rocketeer takes a free move action. That is, wow, we got lucky there. And he's going to take a free move action, and he's going to move right up here. Excellent. And that was our professor's turn. He is now finished. He could, of course, spend an oxygen. He only has 2 to take 1 final action, but I think he's done quite enough. It is now time for our first officer to do her scan action. Closest tile to her is either this one or this one. I think we're going to scan this one here. So, of course, the token flipped over, and we have tile laid in the discovery token. This time it is the heat ray. Okay, the heat ray. Why don't we take a look at the heat ray and see what it looks like. All right, heat ray. Where's the heat ray? And where did I put the sonic repulsor? Did I not put it on the board? Okay, heat ray, heat ray. Let's find the heat ray. I think I forgot to put the sonic repulsor token on the board. But anyway, let's look at the heat ray. The heat ray is this here. 3 charge, permanently destroy or seal 1 hatch in line of sight. Okay, place the marker. So you can seal the hatch permanently with the heat ray. And where is the heat ray token? Where did I put it? I seem to have misplaced it here somewhere. So let me come right back. Never mind, losing my mind. The sonic repulsor is right here. I thought we had lost it. And of course the heat ray is sitting on the board where it should be, right there. So never mind, I'm babbling away. Aliens now. We don't want these. Oh no, we get brain in a jar, a saucerman, and a bug. Oh, great. First up, brain in a jar. These are really cool little tokens. Oh, I hate brain in a jar. They are bad news. Bad news, brain in a jar. So what was it? Brain in a jar, saucerman, and then a bug. So we get 1 saucerman, and another lovely bug appears at, yes, the only vent we have. Still the only vent we have. Okay, so another bug appears here. And now that was Annie's. Oh, wow. Maybe we should have scanned this one. I don't know. We're somewhat in some trouble. Or are we? Don't. Oh, that's an open hatch. Oh, my Lord. Okay, I have to do some thinking here, so I'm going to come back with Annie's 3 actions, and we're going to see what she's going to do with them, and this could get difficult. Okay, I think Annie has a cunning plan, but we'll see how this works. Her first non-combat action, she's going to move into this space, and she's going to pick up the Time Warp. Do the Time Warp again. Took me a bit to find it. All right, the Time Warp's going to get 3 power cubes on it. Reroll any dice in 1 dice roll. So this is a good reroll tool for Annie. That's going to get 3 charges on it. That's pretty awesome. Okay, I like that. And we also have the tools, which gives us a reroll on an IQ check, which also can be important. So that was her first non-combat action. Her second action is going to be a move into this space with the brain in a jar, the heat ray, and the little dude. So that's her second action. So she's going to pick up the heat ray as well. I mean, why not? It's sitting right there. She picks up the heat ray gun, which of course I need to find if I can find the right card. And I think I found it this time, the heat ray. It also gets 3 charges on it. Permanently destroy or seal 1 hatch in line of sight. So we can permanently destroy a hatch or we can permanently seal one. It's going to get 3 charges on it. So again, another pretty darn cool device to have. She still has 1 more action remaining. And the final action remaining, she's going to attack the brain in a jar. And so she's in the same space. She's using the ray gun. So she's going to be rolling 5 dice, and she's going to attack the brain in a jar. So let's go to the dice tray and have her do that. All right, attacking the brain in a jar. Let's have a good roll. Okay, I like that. We get basically 2 successes. So we did do 1 damage to the brain in a jar. So I'm going to put it on its side to signify that it's damaged. She has 1 overkill. Back to the board and process the overkill. All right, we're going to take a look at the brain in a jar. The Psychic Burst, which is the overkill option on Brain in a Jar, which she's going to use, and it's stun all other aliens in or adjacent to the brain's tile, ignoring line of sight. That is awesome. So basically, this saucerman gets stunned, and all 3 of these space leeches become stunned by the psychic burst from the brain in a jar. So that's really cool. Of course, it didn't stun anybody else, but it took out a lot of stuff here, which we didn't really want to activate. So now it won't be. So that is going to be that. She is now going to take 1 extra action. She's going to spend an oxygen, and she's going to try to subdue the brain in a jar. You can only subdue a brain in a jar once it's damaged 1 hit point, and it is. So she's going to try to subdue it right now. And she has so subdue is, she's going to use her IQ. She has an IQ of 4. She has tools, which lets her re-roll any IQ action. She also has the Time Warp, which is re-roll any dice in 1 dice roll. So lots of re-rolls. Let's go to the dice tray. She's rolling 4 dice to try to subdue the brain in a jar. All right, subduing the brain in a jar. Let's have it work. Oh, yes. Wow, I just am rolling incredibly well. She got 2 successes, so yes, indeed. She subdued the brain in a jar. And with the overkill option, I believe you can dominate the brain in a jar, which she will then spend to pick up this card. So she gets a dominated brain in a jar, giving her +1 to her IQ. Wow, that was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome stuff. So the brain in the jar is removed because it has been dominated by our first officer. That is most excellent. And back to the board. Once again, it is time for the aliens to take their actions. We have saucermen, thralls, space leeches, and bugs. So up first in sentience order, the saucermen, we know what they do. They're going to move one. They have 2 attack dice. They're going to try to attack the person that they can get to within range. So let's have a look and see what they're going to do. Well, this guy's stunned. He's not doing anything. This guy here will move 1 and then try to attack. So he will move to the lower, so he can go this way or this way. He'll move into this space because it's got a lower number, and he will shoot at our first officer. So to the dice tray, this alien, our saucerman, is going to be shooting at our first officer. The alien takes a shot. The alien hits our first officer, knocking off 1 of her hit points. She only has 2 hit points left. Ouch, that was not good. Back to the board. Right, lots of saucermen left to activate. We have 2 down here, 1 here, and 1 here. This guy's not going to move anywhere. He's just going to shoot at the professor. This guy is going to move 1 space, so 04. He's actually going to move here to the 04 space. And of course they ignore hatches for movement and shooting. So basically these 2 guys will be shooting at the professor. These 2 guys will then try and get, so they're 1, 2, 3 from the professor, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're going to move towards professor. They're just going to both move here, but they only have a range of 1, so they won't be able to shoot anything. So we're going to have 2 attacks against the professor from the saucerman. Back to the dice tray. Attack number 1 is a miss. Excellent. Attack number 2 is a hit. Well, the professor's going to have to take a damage this time. He's going to go from 4 hit points down to 3. Back to the board, continuing with the alien turn. Right, that was all the saucermen going. Up next, in sentience order, the thralls. They move 1. Of course, they can't move through closed hatches, and they can only move or attack on their turn. So they're 1, 2, 3 spaces, clear spaces away from Pelham, and they're also 3 clear spaces away from the first officer. Who went last in turn order? The first officer. So the thralls are going to move towards her, and this is a closed hatch, so they wouldn't even try to go that way. So the 2 thralls are going to move there. That's all the thralls we have. Up next, the space leech. Luckily for us, these 3 space leeches are stunned. They move 1, they can move and attack. They can't move through closed hatches. Let's figure out what they do. We know what they're doing. Again, they have 1, 2, 3, clear line of sight, and to Pelham, 3 spaces to first officer. First officer moved in last order, so the space leech will try going towards our first officer, and that's where it moves. It can't attack anyone, that's it. These other space leeches are stunned. Up next, the lovely bugs. And of course the bugs move 1. I like to think of the bugs, I think the easiest way for me to think about them is they each get an action and they work together. So how I see this working now is we have 3 bugs. So this bug wants to get into a swarm. It's going to use its action to join the other 2 bugs. So there's still sort of 2 actions left. So these 3 bugs are going to move right in here with the professor. There's 1 action left. So one of the bugs gets to attack the professor. I think that makes it fairly clear. To the dice tray, 1 bug is going to attack the professor with 1 die. All right, the bug attack. And the bug misses. Good stuff. Back to the board for cleanup and the end of this episode. All right, it's cleanup time. First thing we do is any stunned aliens recover. So the saucerman recovers. The 3 leeches that got stunned recover. That's all stunned aliens recovering. And then hatches that were opened close automatically again, which would be those 2. Our characters get their actions back. And we have to decide who's on first and what's on second for the next episode. So I have to think about this. Who wants to go first? In the next episode, I think we're going to have Oh boy, the first officer has the least amount of hit points. I think we're going to have her go first. She only has 2 hit points, and we'll have Pelham go second in the episode. I think that's what... wow, this is it's getting pretty tough. I don't know if we're going to win this. So to recap, at the very end here, we have a lot of activity going on here. We have got... the professor has 2 health, and he has... oh, let's zoom in on it. It's easier to see than me just talking through it. So we're going to zoom in on the professor, have a look at all of his stuff. We'll zoom in on Annie Fletcher, and then we'll end off this episode. Okay, not sure exactly how clearly this is going to show up, but we're looking at the professor up here. He has 3 hit points, 2 oxygen. He's not in the greatest of shape. He has no more cubes left on his reference book. Can't use that anymore. Can't use the scientist anymore. His long-lost brother has done his duty. The girl stops him from having panic. He has the ray gun. He has the telepathy band with 1 charge left on it, and we do have the 6 wires collected from thralls. So that's, in a nutshell, what we're looking at for Professor Russell Pelham. He's going to be going second in the next episode. Let's take a quick and final look at First Officer Annie Fletcher, and that will be the end of this episode for today. All right, looking at Annie Fletcher, she only has 2 hit points left, but she has 7 oxygen. She's going to be going first. She has her headset, which lets her do move out at a distance. She has the ray gun, of course. She has the time warp with 3 charges on it for rerolls. Tools to reroll an IQ action. The heat ray with 3 charges. And she has the dominated brain in a jar, giving her +1 IQ. So she has 5 IQ now, same as a professor. So I think we're just going to go back to the board and wrap up, and that will be it for today. All right, that's going to wrap up Space Cadets Away missions for today. We've got a lot of aliens on the board. We only have 2 possible locations for the elevator. It's either here or here. I don't know when we're going to find it. I hope we find it soon so we can escape. So actually we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 saucermen on the board. We have 4 space leeches, 3 bugs, and 2 thralls. And we have a bunch of other stuff that needs to be flipped over in the upcoming episodes. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your subscription, your likes, and your comments. I really do appreciate it. This is Space Cadets Away Missions. We're playing Venus Escape from the Slave Saucer. So join me next time for the continuation. I don't know if the professor and the first officer are going to get out of the elevator and get out of here. It's hard to say at this point. But thanks so much for watching along, and we'll catch you next time.